Photography, these phones have gotten great now with their photography. They're 5 megapixels and more. I think the new one is 10 megapixels now or something. But you can take some really good photos with it, but it's still limited in, the flash that's on there is kind of boring, and it'll just kind of blast things out. So the one piece of advice I would give you: when you're taking your photo, you got to hold that phone steady. If you have something nearby, you can rest your arms on, or in a pinch, if you take the phone and kind of line up your shot, put your elbows in, and then just kind of hold it tight. On the newer phones and with the new iOS, your volume up button acts as a shutter. So when you're holding the picture steady, instead of having to press the screen and all that, you can just click the volume up button, and that'll take the picture for you as well.
What generation is
really
that?
The current iOS is iOS 5. So if you have an iPhone 4 or higher,
you have that, like I have the 4S.
So you can do that with 4S.
Just say again what it is that you were saying.
When you're in your photo application, your photo app, if you're taking a picture, your camera app, you can press the volume up button to take the photo. So, like I said, David Pope, The Missing Manual, lots of cool tips and tricks in there. So, like I said, the first thing is keeping the camera really steady when you're shooting. Flash versus not flash. You have the flash on, you have the flash off, and you can have it set to automatic so that it'll fill it in. It's a very kind of stark light, and if you're in a really dark environment with no ambient light around you, it's just going to be kind of blowing it out. But that's for you to make a call. But a lot of times I'll just turn the flash off and try and hold the camera steady and use what light's available to me. The rule of thirds, this applies to all photography. That image that I put there kind of breaks the photo down into thirds. And so you always want to try and have the subject of your photo on one of those points in the middle. So either here or here or here or here. It just, aesthetically, it's just a little more pleasing to have your photos kind of lined up in that rule of thirds. And that goes whether you're doing an iPhone or any other kind of photo. Editing on the new iOS, when you're in your camera, your photo app, after you've taken your picture, you can now go in and tweak the photo a little bit. So when you're in Photos, and you have your picture, if you have your picture, you can click on, in the upper right-hand corner, there's an edit button. And at the bottom, you can change the orientation of the photo by hitting the little arrow, and that'll flip it around to a different orientation. And so sometimes maybe the camera doesn't quite get the way you're holding it or where you want to shoot it, and so you can change the orientation on it. A little magic wand in there will adjust temperature and settings and just kind of tweak the photo to make it look a little bit better. There's also red eye removal on there, so when you click on the little icon with the circle with the line through it, that activates the red eye removal, and then just click on the subject's eyes, and that'll get rid of the red eye, and that's only applicable when you're using your flash. And then the last one there is for cropping, the one to the lower right, and you can recrop your photo and kind of get rid of anything superfluous you want in there. And then you can do even more things with other apps, and so I know Jorn is well familiar with Hipstamatic. Hipstamatic is basically just filters that's added onto the photo, kind of makes it a little more interesting. It also does it in a one-by-one format where it's just a square image, but it's...
How do you choose that setting though? Or you have to upload what's an app?
You download the Hipstamatic, it's an app.
Download Hipstamatic.
You download Hipstamatic, and then...
Is it free?
No, it's not free, but it's not that expensive. I think it's like
$1.99 or
something like that. Yeah, but then you pay more money to get different filters, and the way they call it Hipstamatic is they call it film and cameras and lenses, and so you're changing the lenses and you're changing the film, so to speak, in the app itself, and that's what's going to give you the different effects in the camera. And then if you're using Hipstamatic, you just want to change it up. If you just shake the phone, it'll actually change the lens and the film at random and give you a different look to your pictures. And so it's pretty popular, and like I said, it makes some pretty cool photos. The other app that I use is a camera bag, and that just, again, just adds effects, does different things. So it's an app called Tick that I'm sure you've seen photographs where it's like 2 images in one. That'll allow you to do that. And then PS Express is Photoshop Express. Photoshop Express was more necessary before the recent iOS update because you couldn't do a whole lot with your picture natively on the phone, but with Photoshop Express, you can actually change your exposure a little bit and brightness, and you can make it black and white, you can crop it, you can do red eye. So Photoshop Express is also kind of cool. That's photography. And then the other thing that I don't see a lot of people taking advantage of is just all the different cloud services that are out there. Most of them are free. I mean, for me, when I'm out with a client or whatever, it's like I'd like to have access to my materials, and maybe I forgot to print something, or maybe I don't have my bag with me. If I'm walking on a cold call, I don't want to walk in with a bunch of stuff, and so it's nice to have that with me. So the first thing that I would tell you to do is with Gmail, and I printed the instructions there as to how to set up your Gmail account on your phone. When you're going in to set up on your phone, you're adding a new account. You're not actually choosing Google or Gmail or whatever like that. You're actually going to set it up as a Microsoft Exchange account, and then go through the steps after that. So if you Google Gmail and iPhone, you'll see that I think the first hit is the instructions on how to do that. But you'll set it up. IMAP is the protocol you want to use when you're doing your iPhone. And IMAP, what it does is it's with a POP account. It would it's the older iteration, the older protocol. That would just basically shove all your mail into your mailbox. If you delete it on your phone and you come back to your desk later on, it's still going to be on the server. With IMAP, what you do on here affects what you do on your desktop, what you do on your home computer, whatever. So I always set it to IMAP. But beyond Gmail, we also all use our calendars, we use our contacts and things like that. I use Gmail for my contacts. So if I'm out with a client and I take down their information on my phone, when I come back to my computer later on, my computer is also linked up with my Gmail contacts, and so I can change somebody's phone number when I get back to my PC. That phone number and that contact information is updated there as well. And if I don't have any device and I jump into somebody else's computer and I log into my Gmail account, all that information is there as well. So again, something I would recommend doing. Be careful before, if you haven't done it before and you have your list of contacts, make sure you back up whatever you're going to do first before you jump in and do it, because you have the possibility of losing everything. So back up your contacts before you do all that. But it's a matter of just, when you set up that Gmail account, it's going to say, do you want to, you can turn on your contacts, you can turn on your calendars and all that, and it'll set it up. And then there's calendars. And same thing with calendars, where you'll have your calendars that you have through Gmail, and if you have that synced up, you enter an entry on your phone. That's going to show up on your calendar on your PC. That's going to show up online as well. Van and I, we have one calendar that we both share, and so when I make entries into my calendar on the phone, it shows up in hers as well, along with the alerts and all that. So I can enter, the baby's next doctor's appointment, and she can go to work later on and schedule time off and look at her phone, and she'll see that calendar entry is on her phone as well.
Because you guys share a calendar?
Because we share a calendar. And so again, if you Google iPhone calendar shared or something like that, it'll give you the instructions for that. It's a little tricky with getting that to work correctly, but once you get it going, it's great.